Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Anshul. Welcome to Internshala Trainings World Education Day Fair 2023. We are glad to have you on board for India's largest online learning event on the International Day of Education. How I Met My Career is a series of sessions where we will hear about industry experts from the professional journey and insight they have gained along the way. Our speakers have a wealth of experience in their respective fields, and we are very excited to learn from their success and challenges as they share their stories with us. This is a unique opportunity for young students like yourself to gain valuable perspective and insights from professionals who have been in the industries for years. We hope that you will be inspired to pursue your own passion and dreams by listening to these experts. So sit back and relax and get ready to learn from some of the best in the business. In the session of the day, we would like to welcome Kartik Sachdeva. Born and brought up in Delhi, Kartik did his schooling from modern school Barakhamba Road and thereafter moved to the United States to pursue his undergraduate degree in double majors, finance and management information systems. Through his college, he had the opportunity to take on multiple internships and co-ops in different fields and organizations that helped him identify a career path for him. He moved back to India after 6 years and worked with startups like Global Linker in various role ranging from consultant, product managers, and director of product, where he worked on launching and managing several platforms like the Indian Business Portal launched by Ministry of Commerce and Industry, SME Finance Marketplace launched by SME Finance Forum, and managing the core product roadmap for Global Linker, a platform currently white labeled by leading banks in India, Thailand, and Philippines to acquire, connect, and serve banking products small and medium enterprise clients of the banks. He joined Internshala in June 2022 and currently is working on building experience on the product to help students land their dream career. Hi Karthik, thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. How's it going?
Hi, Anshul. Very well. Thank you for having me over. I'm very delighted to spend the evening with you all on World Education Day. So, thank you for that.
Okay, Karthik. So, moving forward with the question. So, can you please tell us how you got started in your career?
I think, like every college student, right, the biggest confusion we all have is that, like, what would be the right career path for me? Is it really aligning with what I'm studying, or is it like something better out there? So, I also dealt with a fair sort of share of my confusion. So, I did a lot of internships during college. So I did about like 18 months of internships throughout my undergraduate degree, ranging from sales and marketing, then moving on to product management, as well as investment banking as well. So that really did give me an idea about like how different disciplines are going to look like for an active career is pursued in. And thereafter, when I was graduating around in 2016, we all sort of saw some sort of unprecedented, digital evolution, right? Where a lot of consumer-facing technologies, some really good magical products were being launched, and like a wave of digitization in India was also sort of starting to pick up. So that was definitely one of the things that like, and I always found fascinated that like, how great magical products are being created, very easy to use, but all the complexities lie behind the curtain. So I think that's where a real job of a product manager comes in, which is to create magical experiences and make our lives easier for the consumers. So yeah, I think all of these led to a very strong conviction for me to pursue my career in product management. Yeah.
So, Karthik, basically, with all these internships and the projects you have done, I'm sure you might have faced a lot of challenges. So, what has been the biggest challenge you have faced in your career so far, and like, how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think naturally, I think no career comes without challenges, right? So when I was starting it out, I started at like a very junior product role, like where I was dealing on a very sort of tactical task on a daily basis. But as and when my career was progressing, right, like to the senior roles, that tactical approach moved to strategic approach. That means like managing roadmaps, managing different cross-functional teams. So one of the challenges I often came across was sort of I would say team alignment because different sort of roles, different disciplines, like different perspectives. So how do we keep all of them together tied to a one common objective, which is like the business outcome? And oftentimes like did have a challenge that like managing the timeline, deadlines, business objectives, stakeholders management. So I did overcome it, so I was, sort of fortunate to have support of my mentors within the company itself, who sort of handheld me in the beginning in the a lot of these roadmap plannings, and really helped me try and understand that how to sort of align the teams to the common objective, use team members for their strengths, create collaborative groups in a way that the productivities are highest and meeting the company objectives. So that was one of the challenges I faced. Along with that, I'm sure every product manager has the constant need to keep up with the skills, timelines, upskilling on a daily basis. So I think that's going to be an ongoing challenge for every product manager.
Yeah, that's true, Karthik. It is basically hard to collaborate with the teams and bring them to the same platform on the same page. So
Yeah.
moving on to the next question, can you share a memorable experience or a project from a career that you particularly proud of?
Yeah, I think in fact it was recently, I think 2 or 3 years back, right? So when COVID had hit and we all were in lockdown, so we were working very closely, with one of the government organizations which serves, a lot of exporters. So almost 40,000 exporters, which are contributing to 80% of exports of the India. So that was the organization we were working with. And
That's
one of the
nice.
challenge that hit was that now that the travel has been curbed, there is no way exporters can go out and find their foreign buyers, which was highly done over offline channels and trade shows. So we worked out a platform. So we sort of created a task force among different companies and launched a platform called Indian Business Portal. And this portal, what it did was that it digitized all the catalogs of the exporters and got them under one umbrella, which a foreign buyer could access it from anywhere in the world. And while setting up this platform, a lot of partners, the government of India, helping us to verify the exporter for credibility, PayPal entering in order to establish a payment trust, and us being the digital ecosystem enabler, we were able to sort of leverage each other's strengths and had the platform up and running in 30 to 45 days. So definitely was a great team effort, a lot of challenges through the way and all. And then this platform was launched by the Ministry of Commerce June last year.
It is a proud moment working for Indian government. So with all these the product and technology thing coming on the same platform, and how do you adapt to all these changes and shift in your industry over all these years?
I think the pace at which the technology is evolving is, sort of unprecedented, more so as and when there's been a wave of digitization coming across. And I think it's sort of impossible to be up to date with everything. So I think this is where we have to get creative, right? So knowing as a product manager, you're dealing with a cross-functional team, right? So ranging from engineers to data scientists, going from the business team to a managing strategy, product design, digital marketing. So as and when all of these teams are domains in their own experts, I do rely on them. Sort of I get a lot of insights as to how there has been evolution in these respective sort of domains, and we do apply it to our work as well. And apart from that, I think there's a lot of content in a lot of sort of forums and clubs on LinkedIn. On a daily basis, you would see that how there's been a massive evolution and a shift in the changing user needs as well as the technology that we're used to sort of develop, and how there is a big trend in a no code product development as well. So that is a big, and then of course there are some breakthrough technologies as well, like the chat GPT, which happened just recently. I'm sure we all would have heard. So I think certain initiatives that get carried out in the companies where all the team members are sort of encouraged to use chat GPT and see how they can leverage it for their specific role. So seeing those real life use cases also help us stay up to date, how we can sort of integrate those technologies in our product as well.
Okay, so with all this every time hustle in the teams and everything, so how do you stay motivated and ask your team to stay, always tell them to stay motivated towards the work and everything? So
I think, yeah, I mean, I think we're dealing with several product releases, features, and dealing with complex roadmaps. Of course, keeping a team highly motivated and focused, is the topmost critical sort of responsibility of any product manager. So I think as far as motivation is concerned, I think knowing the impact that a product manager is making to their users, right? Like how they're making their lives easier, like, with creative solutions and like, smart technologies and all is something that, sort of keeps me excited that like, I'm always excited to like, build new experiences and see how like, we can maximize the user satisfaction, customer experience for a product. So that's what keeps me and our team motivated that like, what are we doing is really going to create a large impact. So in turn, like, that motivation is always, with high spirits. I think as far as focus is concerned, I think knowing that responsibility of a product manager cuts through like, sort of different cross-functional teams. So I think anything, which is not given 100% would be detrimental to organization, because a lot of hours of engineer, designers, data scientists is going into like, making something, sort of from ground up. So anything which is half baked is definitely going to be detrimental to product success, and equally, could lead into lost business opportunities for the business as well. So I think not giving 100% is really not an option for a product manager.
So that's great. That's a great like type of motivation, Kartik. So like with all this experience you have, and you have come a long way down the road. So what advice do you have for young professionals just starting out in their careers, and what skills do you think are the most important for them to develop in order to succeed in their careers?
So I think I'll just share my perspective on a general level that like, anyone who's starting out their career, like, how they should really identify a career path for them, or like, what should like, their initial months of, looking out for a career look like. And I'll share it from my personal experience. So I think having a mentor very early on during your college days, or even before you're starting out, is very helpful, because in my personal case, it played a very big role in identifying the right career path for me. Ensuring the career path that's been chosen is equally rewarding, and like, it will be sort of evolving in a way that like, we can all fulfill our career and sort of professional aspirations. And also, they also help us out in like, identifying the correct company, right? Which, that like, you'd be able to sort of like, fulfill your aspiration and equally add value for the organization as well. So I think definitely I would say finding a mentor early on is very helpful. And secondly, would be the power of networking. Oftenly, we do get occupied like, in our sort of maybe daily jobs, or like, daily sort of schedules to like, with homeworks and assignments, or projects and happening, and we do sort of sometimes realize the value of networking, because oftentimes, when you're networked with the correct people, great share of knowledge comes with them, a great side of insights, we get to learn from them on a daily basis, which I don't believe like, any sort of educational institutes or anything can provide you on a daily basis, looking at how, even the professional fields are evolving at a rapid pace. So yeah, that is definitely one of the things for early aspirants, or all the people who are starting out would be. And secondly, specific to the product management, like, what skills, I think product management skills, it's qualitative, quantitative, both. One cannot be just having like, sort of hard tech skills and be able to excel at product management, because there's a lot to do with strategy management, dealing with an analytical mindset, connecting with the customer empathy, that like, you're not so much deeply involved into data that like, you may lose an oversight of like, what customer is really asking for. So I think it does need a 360-degree, sort of an open exposure to all those skills, as well as different skill sets. One would need to be a successful product manager.
Okay, Kartik. So there's one last question. Is there anything you wish you had known earlier in your career that you know as an experienced professional?
Um, I think we all sort of go to an experiential learning, be it like through college collaborations, groups, or be it internships, or even like the sort of real life pressure careers as well. So I think looking through all across, specifically to the product management role that I'm in, I wish like I had sort of taken some sort of a focused course into product management, where I could have been exposed to like sort of early product frameworks and like early methodologies of how products are built, so that I could have like sort of helped with my learning curve in the initial years. when I started out as a product manager. So yeah, definitely some sort of a focused knowledge learning would have been helpful in the earlier years of my career.
Okay, Kartik. So we are done with our question. I think people who have joined, if you have any questions, you guys can put it in the chat box. You can ask Kartik. Okay, there are a few questions. Kartik, I'll read it out.
Yeah.
So Rupesh is asking, in today's world, to design an idea or a product, what we should focus more upon? How to design such a way that market gets a clear message what we want.
Okay, so I think whenever we look at designing a product, I think the first we really have to come with a problem statement as to how is that my product is going to solve the problem that I've identified. Because it's sort of, if you have identified, I'm sure there are other competitors in the market as well who would have identified. So first way would be to, like, when we have identified a problem, get into a competitive landscape and see that, how are they sort of solving an issue before you get into product design. Once you really have sort of ideated and conceptualized the product, next step would be to, look at that product which you find that, is closest to what you had visualized. Immerse yourself into the product entirely and see that, how is it really being done it in a intuitive way, which is and how you can add value. Once you see that you can add value, there are a lot of sort of uh, product managers, right? Who do product teardowns, where they really sort of slice the product the way it's currently on the live market, and then they try and add value. That how is it that they could have add value, and that would help us to, really design the product in a most optimum way, and keep it differentiated from your competitors as well.
Okay, so there's Vivek from Deen Dayal Upadhyay College, and he's a BCom third year student, and he wants some advice to pursue a career in sales and marketing field. So,
Okay, so I think I think sales and marketing field. Though I mean, I did one of the internships, and I can share that, how that I have it has helped me in my role. The biggest skill you need in sales and marketing is the interpersonal skills, which is that, you can sort of live the product that you're selling out. Because at the end of the day, if you're not able to convince the user that, how that product is going to change your life, I don't think you'll be able to convince the customer to go for your product. And as far as interpersonal skills are concerned, knowing that product management does involve dealing with, different teams. So being a people's person does help, in all your careers. I think not just specific to product management.
okay, our next question is from Anushri. She is asking, how did you get your first internship, and should we accept what should we accept from it?
So there were two different type of internships that, I had done. So I can only speak from my experience. So first one was right after high school, before I was going to the college. So that one was a very basic internship, where it was more on, sort of shadowing that how things have been built, or how technologies have been used to market a specific product. So that was a lot to do with digital marketing initiative, which was my first internship. The second internship, what I did, it was more like a co-op, where it was a full-time job for 6 months. That involved, working as a complete full-time employee. So it really depends on, how your work commitments help you out. But I would definitely suggest go for experiential learning more, over than doing very small internships, and, sort of trying to check boxes that, what all fields you wanted to try, and, what all you really learned from them. So a long-term internship does definitely help if you do want to pursue a career over there, and will definitely increase your chances in landing the career as well.
Murkoth is asking, how do you constantly keep coming up with new ideas in order to sustain yourself in a role such as product manager?
Yeah, I think that is one of the challenges we face, is that, how do we always have a creative juices flowing? There are complex problem statements that come to us, right? That, and then we have to find, the creative solutions, how to do it such that um, it's done optimally in time as well. It doesn't, sort of also takes too long to address the market, that, before the customer changes need, as where the customer needs change as well. So I think for that, you always sort of rely on your I would say your teams, who do specialize in researching. So, for example, if I'm to create a specific fintech product, right, on top of my mind, I would have five, sort of products in my head, which is a competitive landscape, which would help me to see that what level of creativity and evolution is out there, and then try and see how that can be built into your product as well. There would be times that you will hit a creative block, or may not be able to crack a solution optimally, but again, that's one of the challenges for the product manager.
Okay, so Karthik, there's a question from my side as well.
Yeah.
How if you are a new joiner, or if you go to a new company for it's your first job, how do you stay confident and motivated on your first day?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question because we've all gone through it. Because one thing is, when you start your job, there's also sort of a fear of that, how am I going to perform? There's also sort of some sort of a challenge gets on you that what if I'm not doing something correctly, or what if I'm not doing it as per the expectations. So I think as for the first job and pressures, and I'm sure a lot of experienced professionals who will be managing you would really well know that what it feels like to be starting out your career. So always have an open mind, talk to as many people as possible. Don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to sort of put forward your suggestions, because at the end of the day, your first job is going to be a learning experience and really set your path forward as to what your next 4 to 5 years would look like in that career. Yeah, so definitely don't hold yourself back, with whatever you believe, or with whatever you think would have been sort of a better way of doing things, or if you want to learn something more than you're already getting. If you want to try and experience more cross-functional projects, so biggest thing is never be afraid to ask, and always take feedback with an open heart and constructively, and continue to work on it.
Okay, so all the people putting questions in the chat box for the different fields. Please stay tuned for our upcoming session. And that's all for now. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. A special thanks to Kartik Sachdeva for taking out the time. For everyone who is asking for certificates, yes, we are giving the participation certificates to all the registered attendees. You can also explore our online product management training. The link for the same is in the description. And our next session will commence at 4:30 p.m., where Mr. Atma Godara from Netflix will share his journey with us. See you there.
Great, thank you everyone, have a good one.